Hey, this is Kirk Hilliard.
And this is Rusty Byrd. It's the Kirk and Byrd Show. We are joined today by the four. We've got Charlie Chandler with us today. Welcome to the show, Charlie.
Hey, thanks for having us, guys. Really appreciate your time.
Yes, and we've got Austin Brown, who works out of C4. He's a former Woodbridge High School all-star and a big-time college football player. Welcome to the show, Austin.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having us on.
This is an opportunity for people to know a little bit more about what C4 is all about. Kirk, tell them first how they can check out our show.
Yeah, it's the Kirk and Byrd Show. Big thing for us is for you to subscribe on YouTube. If you Google us, we're basically on almost all of the podcast platforms, Audible, Google, Apple, those types of things. We have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. So yeah, give us a chance. And I just want to point out that you can watch a million things about professional sports. If you want to watch a podcast about the NBA Finals, you got thousands of options, but we really, by far, specialize in high school sports. Prince William, Loudoun, Hampton Roads, Richmond. So you're probably going to get coverage here that you're not going to get anywhere else. We do, in the season, we'll do a Prince William top 5. We'll do a playoff outlook. We have player profiles. And for all you parents, coaches, and people in the training community, those type of things, just check us out. And, we've got a lot of good content on here. Charlie, your son goes to Patriot. We've had numerous Patriot athletes on. We've had Coach Sean Finnerty. We've had basketball players. We've had baseball players. We've had some crew from Colgan. So please check us out.
So let's start with you, Charlie. We're going to go into your history, how you got here, but let's talk about a little bit about C4. Just tell them, our audience a little bit about what C4 is and what it's all about and where you're located.
Well, C4 actually started back in 2015. It just popped in my mind that, I worked with a lot of athletes through the years. I've been in education for 23 years. And, something I look back on as a player is training. And I wanted to find a way to, give my experiences to help kids get to where they want to be. I was a former walk-on down in South Mississippi, and there were some things I couldn't control. One being that I was 5'10" and I played offensive line. So one thing I could control is getting bigger, faster, and stronger. Although I didn't really know how to do it, but as I got older, I bought in and I learned, and I went to college and dialed in on that. And I said I wanted to pass it along. I didn't want kids to fall through the cracks, and I wanted to share my story and my experiences to try to help people, especially student athletes, get to the next level. A lot of them aspire to play at that level, and I felt like I could help them. Outside of coaching on the high school level, I felt like I could go out and help as many kids as possible. So I actually started C4 in my basement of my house. And, I had guys coming from Potomac High School. I had kids coming from Battlefield High School, some from Patriot, different schools. And then finally I said, my wife was like, you got to get out of here. So this is like really when I met AB, we did a football camp together. We rented some space right down the road. And I was like, what if we did this every week? We could actually pay for the building and get more kids in here, maybe make this a business. So, kind of grew from there and ended up getting a spot right down the road. And it grew from there. And, if it wasn't for the kids that came in there and believed in what we were doing and believed in, our mission to make and educate and push these kids, it wouldn't be where it is today. And then obviously, AB came into the picture. I had some other guys come into the picture, and, we ended up moving and we took a shot on getting a bigger space. And we've been rolling with it, and that's where we are now. We're located right down the road, and it's Manassas, but I think it's more Bristol, right down the road from Two Silos, in a 6,000 square foot, 1,000 square foot facility. We we created it. We wanted a place where any student athlete could come and be educated on the process. Too many times people are looking for a skill set, and we believe that if we can build a stronger body, stronger mind, then you would become a better athlete. The coaches can teach all these skills, but we can develop their armor. We can develop their mindset. We can tell them what they need to do in order to get to the next level. Because obviously, both of us have been to the next level, some further than others, but we know the process. We played it, lived it. We actually still coach high school ball. So we're in the mix, and we want to pass on what we've learned through the years onto student athletes to help them reach their goals.
Charlie, where can everybody find you on the web?
On www.c4strong.com. All our information's there. And I think we're a 12-person operation. We started with 2 people and we're up to 12 now. And everybody we have on staff, you don't develop a staff that you're smarter than. You bring on people that bring different things to the table. And I think that's something that Austin and I have created. We're an internship site for Mason. So George Mason, kinesiology and exercise science kids to us. We have a kid now, a former player from Garfield, who's from Bridgewater. He's interning with us. So we're actually an internship site. And what's really cool is we've hired many of them and they come back to work with us. So we have, it's pretty wild where it's gone and what we've developed.
So C4 Strong, and for Prince William folks, you're basically what, 28 and 234? I'm not a Prince William guy, but right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. 34 bypass. You can take 66, 34. We're right across from the George Mason Prince William campus, right behind my building.
Sure.
And Charlie, it's called C4, but why don't you tell us what those 4 C's are, what they stand for?
Well, what's really wild is my initials are CCC, so it was originally C3.
Okay.
And here's what's wild is that one of my colleagues, Rob Doolin, he's a famous cross-country coach. I mean, very, very awesome mentor, great coach. He and I worked together at Patriot, now works with AB at Gainesville. But he said, you should call your place. You have 4 kids, C4, explosive, you can become So I have 4 kids. And I love the what it stands for: character, commitment, change, champion. So we came up with 4 pillars that kind of what we want our kids to have when they leave. So that's how we came up. That's how I came up with the name C4.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. And I remember you telling me that when I talked to you, when we first met during COVID. Austin, tell us about what you're doing there and how, again, maybe break down even a little more how you guys met and got started.
So I actually got a chance to play versus Coach Chandler when I was in high school, and he was a head coach over at Forest Park. And then after I was done playing professional football, I came back and I started teaching in the county. And I started teaching health and physical education. So at one of the in-services, I'm like, "What's up, Coach Chandler?" We start talking, and all of a sudden, we just spitballing ideas on, how do we just invigorate this area and just give it more than what I had when I was there, right? More than what Coach had when he was coming up. So, I mean, that was in probably 2017, 2018 timeframe. And then from there, I mean, I kind of bounced back around playing arena football in between teaching in Prince William County. So it was actually really cool. But it was just he started rolling. And then I came in the picture probably about 2 years later. And ever since about 2020, right before COVID started, we've just kind of been gelling and rolling and just building a team and building a community and building a family over there at C4. And it's been great.
Oh, yeah. I've heard, again, I've seen, but also heard nothing but positives about what you're doing. But I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, you've told me a lot about these guys too. I know they work with a lot of athletes, and a lot of athletes we've focused on them. We've done episodes on. One thing I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to do is, we all talked about football, and I looked at your website and I looked at everybody's bio and read it, and I know you do more than football because sports are different now. I mean, this training, bigger, faster, stronger, conditioning is very big. And I know that you've got a pretty diverse, and it is important. Check out the website, check out their credentials. These guys are very professionally accredited. They've got all the certifications. But what about some other sports for conditioning? There's lots of sports, lots of athletes out there. We've got a lot of scholarships for women because of Title IX. What are some of the other athletes that you all and your staff work with besides football? Charles.
AB, do you want to run with this one?
Yeah, I'll run
Go
with
ahead,
this.
AB.
Yeah, so obviously our team, and we come with a diverse background, whether it's wrestling, baseball, basketball, football, but everybody understands that important piece, which is that strength and conditioning. One, to prevent injuries, and two, to excel in your sport. I mean, we're seeing kids now that are getting really sports specific at an early age, and agree with it, disagree with it, it's not going to change. So how do we implement and give them microdoses of other sports rather than just lacrosse, just baseball, just football? How do we get that to them? And that's through strength and conditioning. It's through speed and agility, and it's through some of the things that we do. We've been fortunate enough, not only baseball players, football players, basketball players, but we've actually had some gymnasts and some swimmers come through that have signed with major colleges.
Wow.
Two being this past year, one signing with Southeastern Missouri, and the other signing with West Virginia. And it goes to show, like, there is a place for it in high school. So if you think about college and the regime in college, I mean, you're going to your 8 a.m. class, you're hitting weights from 10 to 11, you're hitting another class, and then you're going to practice. Why are they doing it at the college level, and why can't we implement it at the high school level or at the middle school level, where we can program those motor patterns the way that they need to be programmed before we set these kids up for failure and they're blowing out their ACL, or they're doing something to where they're hurting themselves, instead of something that we can correct through studying, like, what's best practice, through implementing programs at a progressive rate, instead of just slapping weight on the bar and saying, hey, go do this, right? So there's certain things that we do over at C4, which is what I love. I'm like a mad scientist in there sometimes, because it's like, all right, how do we get the most out of this kid? How do we explain it to them? How do we regress it or progress it? And then how do we not kill their confidence on the same thing, right? We like, if you tell a kid something negative, they hear that all day. We're not building them up. So, like, our approach is we hit a positive. Hey, you're snapping those hips down really, really good, but make sure those knees aren't caving inward. And then we hit another positive at the end, saying, but your extension of your hips at the top is great, right? So it's like a positive, negative, positive. And the psyche of that athlete isn't just like, no, you're like, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. It's like, all right, cool. What do I need to work on? What can I get better at? And then, like, it just kind of snowballs into that. But that's just kind of like a little snippet of what we do. Charlie, if you want to go into any other kind of details a little bit, some people that you've been able to work with. I mean, we've worked with kids, and they've lost 40 to 50 pounds, and it hasn't even been on an athletic platform. It's been on solely a health platform. So there's so many different webs and pieces that go into this picture.
What about age? Is there like a threshold, like a certain age they're coming in?
So we have like our youth group. Our youth group comes in, and those are our fourth, fifth, and sixth graders. Wow. And I mean, and with them, it's like, all right, let's make training fun. Let's spark the fun. Let's make sure they're having fun. They're learning. They're competing, right? Kids love to compete. Like, we do so many things where they're just like, they don't even know what they're doing because they're just having so much fun and competing. So then we have our ramp up group. That's our group, 7th, 8th, and lower level 9th graders can, some of those 6th graders who have a higher training age too, are in that group. And once again, that's to learn and that's to excel and to make sure that when we do hit the high school, and sometimes our high school weight rooms, there's a trainer or like a coach, and it's like a 60-to-1 ratio. That's where we see like the disconnect, which is not a bad thing. I mean, you think about a classroom, right? A classroom, 35-to-1, right? Maybe that's a little bit big. And then you have your SAT tutor or you're a 1-to-1, right? So this is kind of like the same principle that we have there. And then we have our high school group. That's probably our most popular group, because we're seeing those kids that, all right, man, how do I elevate my game? How do I get off the bench? How do I, take over a game when I want to take it over? How do I make the game slow down a little bit, regardless of if you're on the tennis court, on the football field, on the baseball field? How do I get better at it? And this is kind of one of the hidden gems, and it's not really hidden anymore. There's no secret. Like, if you don't put in the time, people will pass you up.
You've really assisted a lot of kids that have gone on to the next level. Can you share some of those names and schools and what positions they played? Because you got some great folks that come out of your program.
AB.
Go ahead, Charlie.
And it is about the kids, and we don't want to say, we always say this: it takes a village, and we're just glad to be part of the village. And we've been fortunate enough to have some kids come through our doors that believe in us, and we be a little piece of that village. And one of the guys that really helped C4 is Blake Corum. I mean, he was one of the original kids that used to come there.
Wow.
Some real OGs, and Coach Honore from Potomac was in C4 today. He brought his youngest son in there to train, and I still get emotional when I see him, because we trained his son who passed away, and getting to see him. But I trained his oldest son.
Wow.
Who was basketball player, and Darius Satchel, who had a full ride to Howard, but wanted to go a different route with his career. So we had those guys that came in original, and then we had Ja'Kai Moore, Ja'Kai and Vashawn will be two of the guys that start for South Carolina. Yeah. We had Murphy. Sean Murphy showed up. He looked like he was 170 pounds soaking wet. And took him in, and once again, I don't like just talking about the high profile guys, because we have a guy, Quentin Waddy, who came in. He's a long snapper at Hampton Sydney. He's a kid that bought into, not just him, but his parents bought into what we're doing. Cole Scott, who is at Shepherd now, William County Shepherd team. A guy that had some back issues that came to us and strengthened his body, and now he's possibly starting for a high power Division II team next year. We had a guy travel from Madison County, Jacob Sacra. He'll probably start at ECU. I mean, nobody can forget Big Tyleek Williams. I just talked to him the other day to check in and see how he's doing. Hey, Tyleek, how you doing? How's your weight? How's your grades? Are you staying out of trouble? And these guys, those are just a few of them. We had, who's a guy who went to Harvard, AB? Was it the guy from to drive all the way from Maryland to come here? Price. Yeah. So those are just a few. Obviously, Cole Serber, who's going to UVA. TJ Bush trained with us for 4 years, and it's not really fair for us to name all these guys. It's just a lot of guys that people know.
There's a
lot of that have been through our doors, that I feel that was like it almost felt like a lounge where guys could come. I mean, Jay, who's at Norfolk State?
Jaden Smith.
Freedom was a walk-on at Norfolk. They gave him a scholarship. And then his dad was like, look, I'm not making that same mistake with my youngest son. And now he's almost bigger than his older brother. And here's he a now? He's going to be a sophomore, or
He's over at Colgan. Yeah.
he's a dude. He's going to be a big fella. But that kid's been training. So we think about like
Wow.
that been through there. We have Dara Mick, who just played in the World Series with Lewisburg softball. Like Christian Sneer, who came through. There's a girl that plays soccer who's at Air Force. So there's been numerous kids, but it's not fair to just keep talking about them because obviously there's all the other kids that, have come through there who've benefited. But there's a big, Tim Baldwin.
Yeah.
Big. So it's wild. It's
Well,
wild.
it's funny because about a month ago, I told my son, Justin, I said, well, you're going to C4 before you go off to school this summer because he's going to be playing football at Alvernia and might be running track there as well. But I was like, you're going to C4. So get ready. And he was like, I am? Oh, cool. Because he liked it when he was there before. So definitely what you will see young Byrd up in the place. What I'd like to do right now is get a little bit more like you guys are just kind of glossing over, but you guys have some great backgrounds. Austin, tell us a little bit about your background. Did you always play football? Did you play other sports? And then again, I know you played at Woodbridge, you played at college, and I know you were in. I believe you got tried in the NFL, or you played in the NFL, and then you played some arena football. Tell us about your story.
Yeah, so I'm a Woodbridge kid through and through. Went to Lake Ridge Middle School, went to Woodbridge High School, had some pretty good success there. We had some pretty good teams. I played with D'Antoine Williams.
Yeah, that's right. You guys played against Westfield in the state championship.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Mike Leonard.
Yeah, I was there.
But I was fortunate enough to play on a pretty good team. And D'Antoine, came by C4 not too long ago. Him and his brother, D'Avon. But so going through high school, was kind of an undersized guy until about my sophomore year, and I really kicked it into gear. And the dungeon down there in Woodbridge, that's where a lot of men are made. So lifting. We were lifting 1-2 times a day. People, friends of mine going over to somebody's house to play, video games, something like that. Hey, we're hitting the weight room first. We're going to the bus tunnel to run first, right? So that strength and conditioning piece really changed my mindset and changed my life. It changed my stars. I say that to the kids all the time. I'll say, change your stars. You control it. So I was able to. I hit a growth spurt, and it was I probably went from about 5'10", 200 pounds to about 6'2", 250 in the span of, I would say, probably about 12 months. And it was just kind of that dedication towards that. So entered my junior year, was able to play both sides, all state, had a lot of accolades, had a hell of a running back behind me. And then the same thing happened senior year, and then got a lot more exposure in terms of camps and things like that. Ended up getting a pretty good amount of offers, 15 plus offers. And I ended up going to Miami of Ohio. When I was at Miami of Ohio, I started my first game stepping on campus. I remember starting as a 17-year-old freshman, my first 5 games. I remember my first tackle was Randall Cobb. I remember all this stuff.
Wow.
And we were playing Kentucky.
Austin, what were you playing? I'm guessing DN?
No, I was D tackle. I was
D tackle. That's what I thought. Yeah.
I was about
250
285.
junior year of high school is big.
Yeah. So we put on some pounds in college. You always put on weight, right? You're eating for free. It's great. I was able to. I was a captain my sophomore year. Team voted captain, which was a huge honor, especially at 18 years old. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. We were just rolling with the punches. Fast forward, had a great career at Miami of Ohio. Had some great teammates. Brandon Brooks was one of them. He just won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. He was my roommate for a couple of years. Andy Cruz, a couple of guys that bounced around the NFL, Zach Dysert. And we were able to kind of etch our name, and we won our conference, and we had a really good time there. So, and I ended up getting my bachelor's in kinesiology up there, and that's kind of pushed me towards exercise science. I just loved it. I loved how much the way the body works is amazing. When your body's feeling good, your mind's feeling great, vice versa, right? So just loved it. And fell in love with that. I was able to get I I was signed as an undrafted free agent in 2014 to the Houston Texans. So it was the
Houston,
same
Texas. I remember that. Houston, Texas. That's right. Okay.
as Jadeveon Clowney. That's who was the first pick. So that was fun down there. I was down there for a couple months. Bounced around. After that, I got released in September down there. It was a great experience. I bounced around in the arena football for a little bit.
Austin, what years were you there? I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to.
I was there in 2014 and 2015.
Okay.
And then in 2015, I didn't sign a futures contract. So I went and played with the Orlando Predators down in Orlando. And was down there for about 3 months. And then I got a call from the Saints. And I went, had a trial with a couple other D tackles. My combine is really, really good. My combine, that's one thing that kind of separate me from everybody else. But the other day I was looking at Aaron Donald's combine numbers and mine, and they're not too far off.
Wow.
To be honest, he's the greatest, right? He's the best. But because I was able to train and learn those things, it helped me when it came to those tryouts with those NFL teams. I got to play with the Washington Valor too, won a championship with them.
Oh yeah.
And then so 2018 was my last year professionally playing football, and then that's when I got into Prince William County. And it's funny, I was substitute teaching, and I know a lot of athletes that do this too, because when you get a call, you can just drop everything and
right.
try out, right? So substitute teaching was what we did. I was already in the system. There was a PE position opening up at a middle school. So I hopped on it, got into it, and that was in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go? I'm sorry. Were you in school at Woodbridge when Logan was there, the baseball?
Yeah,
player?
Logan was a freshman. Freshman. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so I know. I mean, Logan, he was substitute teaching too. I mean,
that's why I brought it up. Yeah, because he loved my wife. He over the last couple of years while he was playing minor league baseball, he always tried to substitute teach at Colgan because my wife left Woodbridge to help open Colgan, and he was always Logan, there's Logan, and then I went to VCU, so I'm a big VCU baseball fan. But I thought you guys might have overlapped a bit. He played varsity as a freshman.
Yeah, he was good, man.
Yeah, he's real good.
You
good football player.
You could tell by looking at Charlie, he's from Mississippi. He's got it written all over him. So, Charlie, why don't you tell us about Mississippi? You started playing football at junior college level. I mean, tell us a little bit about your coming up. You're a little bit older, closer to our age, I believe. But you have an interesting journey from high school and junior college in Mississippi to playing at Elon.
Yeah, so I once again, like AB said, I was fortunate enough to play in a good program in Laurel. It's pretty rich tradition of football down there. I mean, we just had Charles Cross, who got drafted with the Seahawks, is a Laurel guy, but we had numerous guys that have been there and done great things. But I had the opportunity to play in that league, and I felt pretty good. I was a 2-year starter in high school. Didn't really have a family growing up. Another reason why C4 is important to me, because not everybody has that father figure. And, I always felt like, I could be there for a kid if they need anything, not just train, but, hey, you need a meal, you need help going to you need something, I'm there for you. I'm fortunate in my life that I can do that. So anyways, I didn't have that. It was tough growing up. Not really having parents around and not having support. And I felt football was my outlet. And I was fortunate enough to play at Laurel. And I felt like I was going to be able to play college football. But, just like AB, we were both, I was 16 my senior year. I had no clue that,
oh, wow.
Out 18 years old, your body's still growing, you're going to be a grown man, a grown man at 16. Although I was, 235 pounds, I was not grown. And, I felt like, well, I'm just going to go to the local community college. You're going to sign me, which was Jones. Because back then, prior to Last Chance U, which is garbage show, it's entertaining, but it's garbage. It's not real. They used to have zones. Like if you lived in this district or zone, you went to Jones. These were the counties that went to Jones. And then these schools went to Scuba and these schools. So you were zoned for a certain JUCO. And I went down there in the spring because I saw a piece of paper on the wall because I had not one letter, not one coach talked to me. And I saw a letter on the wall said, come try out. So they did a combine. I went down there. I ran a 5. I still remember I ran a 5 flat, and I was trying out for linebacker. They said I'm too slow. I hit 225 18 times. And I said, I'm the strongest kid here at the combine. So I felt like, I was doing okay. And then I get a letter saying I didn't make it. And I'm like, damn, very good. So then I said, you know what? I'm going to go down to the station and join the Marines with my boys. And then they told me I was too big. I had to weigh 175 pounds because of my height. And I was like, hey, I don't know how I'm going to do that. So I said, so then that summer I get a phone call, this is 1993. I got a call from Jones saying, hey, come back out. We want you to try out. And I was like, man, I don't know about this. I haven't worked out. I kind of like put it on the shelf. And I remember my mom said, don't have regrets. That's the only thing. I said, hey, Mom, I'm going to go try to play football. She said, don't have regrets. I said, okay, whatever. I went and got a physical, went down there, and I'll never forget. I was standing there, and this guy gets out of the car. I'm like, who the hell is that guy? It was this kid named Maurice Mebane. Maurice Mebane was the #1 wide receiver in America. And he looked defensive end. And he was so good. He played in when Ronald McDonald basketball game was big. And he was from Burlington, North Carolina. Wow. And that's a wide receiver. I said, oh my God. I walked in, and I've never seen so many big humans in my life. And I was like, ain't no way in hell I'm going to be able to survive this. So I go in, there's over 100-something people there, and only 60 people make the team. I'm like, man, I'm going to battle for my life. And the day one there, we're doing this conditioning test. I almost died, but I make it. And I eventually end up getting equipment. And I remember my coach said, hey, we need somebody to run down on kickoff. I said, hell, I'll run down on kickoff. I went down there. I try to lay out people. And they're like, all right, this guy's not scared. The next thing you know, I get coached up how to play football. And I played offensive line. So I ended up making I made the team as a lineman. I was third on the depth chart, but I ended up starting the second game of the year. And I was like, I'm not going to lie. I was 17 years old. I was scared to death. And I got out there and I was like, this ain't as bad as I thought. And that's where it flipped for me that I could play college football. So I finished playing there. I started 3 games my freshman year. And then the next year they moved me to center. I started 10 games, playing the all-star game with guys like Jason Ferguson. The starting running backs were Deuce Staley, Antoine Smith on the North team. And we had 3 or 4 pro guys on our own team. So when I was down there, Elon was there recruiting, and they said, hey, we want to fly you up, check out the school. And I said, all right. And they flew me up. I saw the school, fell in love with it. I graduated in a year and a half. So I was a junior in college at 19. So wow. I went to Elon spring ball. I knocked it out of the park. I knew I was going in starting because I felt like I went backwards as far as competition at the time. And I ended up starting 22 straight games at Elon. I was all conference both years. And the coolest thing, and this is what I tell kids, I said, the coolest thing is I got my degree for free. I met my beautiful wife there. And, my coach said, make sure you come to the banquet. I said, all right, whatever. I'm going to get an award. Cool. Best lineman. All right. So I walk in and, they said, best lineman of the year. And they named this guy. And I'm like, damn, he lied to me. So then he goes, last award goes to our team MVP, Charlie Chandler. So wow. To stamp that, and why C4 is dear to me is these kids out here that are kind of like, on the back burner, doubting themselves or, been kind of throwing a few curveball sliders, whatever you want to call it. There's opportunities, and it might not be football. It could be something. It could be trade. But if there's somebody that can push you and kind of lead you and mentor you to make choices to help them, that's C4, man. That's what it is. That's what made me who I am. Like all that damn adversity and having some coaches, a couple here or there that believed in me, made me who I am. That's why I'm an educator. I'm in year 23 of teaching. I started my football career, coaching career at Elon. Had the opportunity to go to Bowling Green. It was an Max school. And there was a guy at the time. A guy who was going to take me with him was Tim Beckman, who ended up being the head coach at Illinois. He was going to take me to Bowling Green, and some guy named Urban Meyer was a head coach there. Quite honestly, I took it down because I saw how college coaches lived, and I said, I want to have a family one day. I want to spend time with my kids. I want to coach my kids.
Yep.
And that's the life I want. I don't want to live that college life. So it's pretty cool that, I got to coach a year of college. I do plan maybe one day doing it just to go back to the game. But that's what led me here. I moved to Prince William County. My first coaching job was with Bill Brown at Hilton High School in '99 with Ahmad Brooks. Ahmad was a sophomore. We won the state championship, beat Michael Robinson in the state championship with Rhina. And then Forest Park opened, and I moved to Forest Park to help open that school. And we just got beat up by guys like Austin and them and Ahmad and those guys. And I ended up being head coach at Forest Park for 5 years and thought I knew what I was doing. And, my family was priority. So I stepped down, and Patriot was 3 miles from my house. And I've been at Patriot since.
Wow. Hey, look, so that's why we have you here. Because I've heard Charlie tell that story, and it definitely is inspiring, and somebody that's watching this needed to hear that. And for folks that don't know, Mississippi football is some of the greatest athletes and greatest high school and college athletes, period. Look, the biggest junior college programs in the country are in Mississippi and Kansas. All right. And if you were playing there, whether you were zoned or not, if you can ball in Mississippi at the junior college level, because like you said, the junior colleges there have more talent than some of the Power 5 schools, because they're actually feeders for a lot of them. And so much respect for your journey, Charlie. I appreciate you sharing that with us, man. Y'all definitely have the credentials, but like you said, it's like nothing was given to any of you guys. And I just love to hear how you work for it. And then, so some of the young people that you're training, you could be like, hey, no, I went through it. I know, I had to work to get there. No, that's great stuff. Before we move into getting a little bit more to know you guys outside of sports, are there any, did you have any mentors? I know, Charlie, you mentioned that, your parents weren't as active or involved, but were there other people, you mentioned some coaches, but Austin, did you have any mentors that you kind of looked up to, whether they were formal or informal? I know some of my greatest mentors didn't even know they were my mentors.
Yeah, so I had a couple in high school, Coach Scott and Coach Darren Hill, and these two guys, man, they helped mold us, and there was a group of 12 of us that were just bought into it, and out of those 12, 6 of us ended up going D1, which was awesome, right? But it all started with them. And then coming out of college, Coach Cliff Marshall, he's over in Indiana right now. He's the human performance director at Indiana for their basketball team. And,
okay.
Him and Ben Creamer, there was a spot out in Cincinnati, Ohio, used to train with Luke Kuechly, Vinny Ray, a couple of the guys were already in the NFL, but we used to train together. And they were our trainers. And I wasn't there just to get trained by them. I was there also to soak up as much knowledge as I could, because this is what I wanted to do after I was done playing. So then they were two great mentors. Ben Creamer out at Washington. He's helping UW right now, their football team.
Okay.
And combat program out there. He's really, really successful and really, really good at what he does. And then Coach Cliff Marshall, man, those two guys, they helped out so much. In terms of sparking this interest of being a strength and conditioning specialist. So that's really helped out.
How about you, Charlie?
The guy that, I call him my dad, but a guy named Mike Beagle, who was my line coach. And he was a guy that believed in me, and he used to always say, I'm sorry he used to say this, I'm sorry you have to go to Elon. if you were 2 or 3 inches taller, you would be playing at a big school. What's funny is I visited Florida State back, with Ward Dunn days. Charlie Ward just left, Brooks was there, and some of my teammates that I played with my freshman year was playing there. One being Orpheus Roy, who ended up playing with Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers, that I had to play against every day, which, you leave with a few concussions in practice. But I went to Florida State, and, the guys are like, we want you to come to this school. And, we think you're as quick and as strong as Clay Shiver, who ended up being the #1 center in the country.
I remember.
And I would not have got that compliment if it wasn't for Coach Beagle and coaching me and making me the lineman that I became. I was a decent lineman, and people knew me because of his coaching. And you see, the one thing about C4, a lot of people, they just coach linemen. It's like, no, that's kind of like what we want to pass on. That's what helped us. But Coach Beagle would probably be the biggest influence for me, and then obviously guys like Bill Brown, Wing, Jerry Williams, Tony Labazetta, Jerry Mobley, these older guys that I got to get mentored by. Labazetta was a head coach for Garfield for many years. Laba is a great guy. I still talk to him till this day. Jerry Williams was the OC for Hilton all those years. They won championships. Yeah. And obviously everybody knows the legend, Coach Brown. I don't even like calling him any Bill, but Coach Brown, he gave me my first high school job. And he actually hired me as the head football coach at Forest Park. So, I owe a lot to those guys because they believed in me and they molded me. But the other thing is, I have a lot of guys, and, I owe a lot to my wife. I can't call her a mentor, but kind of like my drive, that makes me go. You know what I mean? Like, she's my rock, and not necessarily a mentor, but never gave up and believed in everything I've done. She's the one that pushed me to say, you know what? You need to make this bigger than you need to make this grow. You can do it. And so those are the people that I truly owe.
That's great. And I didn't say it to bring up this question because we ask it all the time, but you do realize that you are going to be, if I bring some of your athletes up, they're going to list you guys. And that's the thing. You're not necessarily doing it for that, but you are impacting young lives. And it's not always the ones you think you're impacting. It could be the kid you think already had everything, but didn't realize you gave them the confidence to take it to another level. So no, that is just get away from specific sports and your background and what you do with C4 to find out a little bit more like outside of sports. So Kirk, why don't you take us there?
Yeah, a great peek into somebody's soul is their taste in music, cinema, and food, because we all like to talk about that. I was looking for A Few Good Men the other night, and I was forced to buy it, so I added it to my my Voodoo library, which is 5 movies now. But so, Austin, favorite movie, favorite sports movie?
I would say, wow. All right, Gladiator.
That's good. That's good.
Is that your sports movie? Because that was a sport back in the day.
That was a sport back then. But then another one that he was in is my favorite sports movie, and that's Cinderella Man.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Those are my two.
That's a great movie. I forgot about that. That's another one I need to buy.
Oh my goodness, it's my favorite movie. It's my favorite movie.
I'm impressed. Charlie.
All right, Charlie.
Don't say Fast and Furious 7 now.
No, I like the Gladiator, but you know what? One of my favorite movies is Braveheart.
Oh,
okay, yeah.
God, it's a little, but just the
man, you younger guys watching this, you gotta watch that movie.
You know what? My wife, and like if somebody did that, my wife, like, and just going out and just freaking wrecking and stuff, like in my boys, hey, look, I don't care how many there are, we're gonna man the hell up and we're gonna like just take them down and just go down like swinging. And it's just like the history of it. You know, they say it's not really true, but I wouldn't want that to happen to me at the very end, what happened in that movie. But the movie and story itself it's got some love. It's got some like in it. You know, it goes hard a little. I dig it.
Any reality TV?
Reality, you know, they got that show called My Hometown, and that's actually my hometown.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's actually where I'm from. It's so fake. But anyway, it's so fake. I get on there and I make jokes like, hey, when you gonna go to the other side of the tracks and go fix some houses? And I get the mean mugs and I'm like,
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm just being real. But no, reality, you know, like I like that show like Alone, like where they get dropped off.
That's
right?
my wife's joint. Yes.
They drop you off in like Vancouver Island in Canada.
Yeah.
You got like 10 supplies you can beat, and then there's like 10 other people, and you got to be the last one standing to win.
What network is that? There's so many I can't keep up. What network is that, Charlie?
History Channel.
History. Okay.
It's history. Yep.
I tell you what, man,
It's on Netflix too. It's a good show.
Yeah.
I could do that. Rabbit. I'll just hunt rabbit and eat that and lose some weight. You know, I got plenty of blubber.
Oh, Charlie, come on, bro. Okay. How long would you last, bro?
Listen,
No, let's do this. The four of us get dropped off in Alaska. We're
okay.
20 miles apart. Who's going to last the longest?
Me.
Probably
You see
8.
this hair? You see this hair? I am.
First of all, this brother, once it gets cold, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Hey, listen, I grew up in Mississippi, so I think I have I think I could fish. I think I could like try to hunt something. I could figure make some fire or something. But I'll have some. That I think is like a fire starter or something, you know, to cause fire.
Okay.
Flint. Be that Flint.
I think it's more about mental toughness than it is where you're from and if you've been outdoorsy, because you know there's a lot of mental toughness if you don't panic.
Well, mental toughness. If you don't know how to fish, it don't matter how mentally tough. You got to eat, bro. Because a lot of people leave those shows because they lose too much weight. You know, because as it gets colder, they haven't stored up enough food and stuff as it gets colder.
Like I said, I got plenty of blubber. Right?
Okay, so let me just say this. My wife, she loves that show, but the show she watched before that was Naked and Afraid. Did you ever seen that?
I've heard that's good, man. I've heard that's good. Never seen it.
You got to watch it, man.
The mosquitoes are tearing them up. They're like nasty, like something just crawled up.
Yeah, man.
Or the girl goes, "You got to quit pooping over by our camp." You're like, "Oh."
Naked and Afraid, there's no way I could do that. First of all, I don't like to walk barefoot anywhere. But like the only problem with that, my wife and I found, was that there's a man filming. So like it. All right. Why is this dude gonna go sleep?
How about the millions of people watching it?
Whereas alone is you
have your
like you're
you gotta get your camera yourself.
So she doesn't even watch Naked and Afraid anymore. It's all about Alone. That is a great show. I love that. Good call.
Absolutely.
All right. If you're marooned away on an island, one meal for the rest of your life, and
you'll keep getting this meal.
Right.
It's like your manna from heaven. It will fall down in whatever you want.
In other words, you're going to have to eat it.
You're
going to have to eat it.
Your life.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical, but you're going to have to eat this the rest of your life.
Who's this for? AB or me?
Go, Charlie. What you got?
I'm going to go like, now how many more years I got to live?
Well, it depends on what food you're eating. It may make a difference. If it's bacon for the rest of your life.
Like I'm thinking of ribeye, a nice roasted potatoes for my starch, and like some good vegetable med with a good buttery top on it.
And that sounds like your final meal.
We didn't say you were in prison and your last meal. We said that's good.
No, that's good.
Before you go, Austin, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
Mine is going to be like a mini seafood buffet, whatever they allow. That I can just it'll be like, it won't be the fake crab meat, like it's going to be the real crab meat. I'll get maybe the cream spinach, which the spinach part is good, but the cream isn't. But I would just something like that. I know I would lose my mind if I could just keep eating. But go ahead, Austin.
I'm a breakfast guy. I'm a breakfast guy through and through.
That's a good call.
I love me a good omelet. It is the most boring thing in the world, but I'll tell you this, I'll never turn one down. So I'll eat that for the rest of my life, man.
Okay.
Like all types of meat and cheese in that omelet, I'm good. We're good to go.
Before I got married and I was single, I used to eat breakfast all day. Like, it didn't matter. I come home, it's breakfast, whether it was the full meal breakfast with the pancakes or just a bowl of cereal, bro. I think now I went through my summer school in college for 3 years. I always went to summer school and I just lived on cereal and oodles and noodles.
Ramen.
All summer. Yep.
Ramen, baby.
Yep.
Egg drop soup with it.
Yeah.
I have something new and I want some input here. Rusty, I grew up fried chicken a lot. My mom's never had better. But for the first time in forever, I got KFC like a month ago. And it's okay. But I'm in search of a good fried chicken place. And somebody told me that Royal Farms, the service station, is that good?
Yeah.
Is that good?
See, we don't have a lot of them around here, but my son, now that he's going to be playing football in Pennsylvania, all along the way up there, there's a bunch of Royal Farms. Like, we have one stop at that right before in Austin. I don't know if this is the way you went to Ohio, but going outside of Maryland, what is
Frederick?
Yeah. We're like there's
70. You take 70.
There's one that we stop at. Like that's our first resting point. We'll stop, but they have Royal that Royal whatever, and they have
Royal
chicken.
Farm, baby.
Yeah. Now I will tell you, legit fried chicken, bro. I'm telling you, Walmart. Okay, Walmart has some
prepared. Where?
Yeah, look, just Walmart's with food.
Walmart's
with food. Yeah,
Walmart's with food.
Yeah, with the grocery
serving
store.
Food. Where have I been?
They serve. Yeah, we've had them like for family reunions, and we'll order like 80 pieces or whatever. But you can still just go there and get your own. Like they have, you can go there and say get macaroni and cheese and something. Get Walmart chicken is the bomb.
I agree.
Okay.
Agree.
Yep. All right. So look. Okay. Now this next question. All right. I'm assuming it. Let me not assume. You can be any superhero. All right. You can either pick that superhero and all the powers they have, or you just tell us if you could have any superpower. And you don't. So you're you're not Superman. You're not Spider. You're Charlie. Boom. All right. What is your superpower, Austin? Or what superhero?
I'm a big Avengers fan, like love all the Marvel movies, like huge fan. But I would probably like teleport. I think teleporting, I don't like flying on planes. I don't like waiting. I'm impatient. I got ADD. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Let me get what I need to get. Let me get back. Let me do my thing. So teleportation would be my superpower. And I don't know my name.
Is that just transporting from like here to Japan or to 7-Eleven and back? Or is all current time? Not can you teleport into the past or into the future?
Yeah, I would do like some type of time machine teleportation little mixture. That would be where I'm at. That'd be pretty cool.
I like that. Can you bring a brother with you? Like if I hold your hand, can I go with you? Or do I just gotta meet you when I get there?
We going to the future though. We ain't going back.
We're not going back too far. Like some people be like, oh, the 1920s. No, I don't think I'm good.
Yeah,
moving forward. Charlie, what about you, man?
I don't know. I kind of like Thor, man. He like his Thor's legit, man. Like he's just
that's my dude.
Just his character, like how he's kind of charismatic, but then again, he can like battle. then he can be like, hey, what's up, babe? Like he gets the ladies, you know.
Yeah.
It's like he's the dude, except when he got really like big, looking like me.
Fat Thor.
I like Fat Thor.
Fat Thor was awesome, but like I just think he's got that. He's just got that vibe. You know what I mean? Not that I want blonde hair and all that. I want to be Thor with black hair.
Yeah.
You know? That's how I'd want to rock.
And 5'10", not 6'5".
And I would be Fat Thor. Like I'd be Fat
Yeah.
Thor. And I'd be charismatic, just like he is, like in Guardians and all. But that would be it, Thor. I like Thor.
That's what I said on the last time I answered this question. I said Thor. If I had to pick a specific superhero, but if I had to have any superpower, it would be this: to just be crazy smart. I'm talking the smartest person ever times 100. Like I can pick up a book and then go past the bar. You know, I can do like so, and like I can win every argument with my wife. Hopefully, I can.
Is that a superpower though? That's out there. Is that
it
out
will.
there?
If I can beat my wife in an argument, that would definitely be a superpower. I could figure out this new math when I help my kids with their math because they don't do it the way we did it back in the day. Like I could just be that smart with science, with figuring out stuff and doing it quickly. And I'm not saying I'm not the brightest brother in the world, but I work at the State Department. I got coworkers that got PhDs from Harvard and all this stuff. And that's when I realized, because growing up, my mom always said, "You're so smart, Rusty. You're so smart." Man, I was a product of Hampton Public Schools, man. I didn't realize I wasn't that smart until I went to college and where I work. And I'm like, oh, but you know what? I'm not as smart as some people, but I can talk and I can get stuff done. You know,
Well,
like
different
so
skills,
you know
though. You know,
yeah. Oh yeah.
different
Oh,
skills.
yeah. So
there's some smart people that they're
man,
whatever.
Smart people that sit right by me, and I'm like, bro, just do it. Like
They're too smart. Too smart.
Yes. But I want to be too smart and still be cool. So when you see me on the street, Charlie gonna dap me up, and that's to steal my dog, right? So that's my superpower. Kirk, I know what your superpower you want. To look like me.
Oh,
right? To look like this brother right here, right?
I mean, Charlie towers over you, man. I would have to go back to 5th grade to be your height, literally. I think I was your height in 5th. That is not a joke. I was your height in 1980.
Right, but I was this height in 1980. So for those that don't know, we grew up in the same town. He went to Phoebus. He was a great athlete at Phoebus. I played football, ran track. All right. But I was this height in 4th and 5th grade. So I'm 5'7". Back then, no joke, y'all. My first year playing football in 5th grade, I played offensive line and defensive tackle. Then the next year I played center. And so I thought I was gonna be this lineman, but you know, every kid tells the coach, like, I'm a running back. I could be a running back. Everybody wants to be a running back, right? But eventually I stopped growing. And so in basketball, I went from being a center to a power forward, to a small forward, to a guard, because everybody else kept growing. And I'm still 5'7", but I was the man in 5th grade because I could post everybody up. I could block everybody. So it helped me to be an outstanding fullback in high school.
I was PG myself. I was a power guard. I made my own position. Breon Dunlap. Really good friend of mine.
He was on our show. Yep.
Charlie Rock, you a PG. I said, what's a PG go? You a power guard.
A lot of smaller guys though are very, very good down low. I knew some guys in high school, 5'8", playing that would have been unbelievable centers at like 6'1". So
body people.
Yeah. We'll get one more. Okay, so wait. I got 2 more questions real quick. Okay. All right. So the next one is there somebody in your phone besides me, who I know would be your first answer, that you could text and they would hit you back and people would be like, oh, that's interesting. It doesn't mean they're famous. it could be, or it just be an interesting name to hear. But is there somebody like Kirk went to high school, the same high school as Boo Williams. I don't know if you've heard of Boo, big time AAU guy. Kirk's friends with him and then worked with him, and they went to the same school. So Kirk, but this is the thing, it's not a big deal to Kirk. You can just hit a Boo, okay. And it's people like I've got like that, like, oh, I could hit Sean Moore up, and people.
By the way, I bet Boo Williams' phone is interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's people though, like you don't even realize it. Like people will ask me, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that is. Is there anybody that's in your phone that you could hit up and they'd hit you back? It doesn't have to be right away, but the other people might find interesting.
AB.
Ain't nobody famous on my phone no more. But not no more.
Don't mean they were famous.
Hey, I would say, I mean, look, my wife will hit me back real quick, right?
Yeah, okay.
No, so your wife blows you off.
Look, let me tell you something. So
that's cool.
The amount of Instagrams and the amount of, text and calls. My wife's old school. She ain't texting. She's calling. She's like, hey, what you doing? I'm like, hey, I'm about to be
call.
home.
Don't text and say, can I call?
Yeah,
Call.
that's
no, that's a good answer, guys. Because I have to say, like, Chuck, just like you, Chuck, I don't know if I'd say my wife has been a mentor, but she has been a pillar in my life. Because when I was talking about the smartest people, like my wife is genuinely one of the smartest people I know. But she also is weird because she don't know her directions. Like, how can you have a PhD, but you don't know how to get back over to Benton Middle School or something? Like, and she was a great athlete. Like, she led Lake Braddock to like 5 state championships in track. She went indoor, outdoor from 10th grade. They won state champions. And then she was a great athlete. She ran track at Maryland. And she's been the key in coaching our kids, where when I coach them, my kids like, they tune me out, but they'll listen to her because she really knew what she was talking about. But and that was why I said I want my power to be being smart, because I'm so tired of her being so smart and like
she always winning, huh?
Always winning. So she's in my phone and I can hit her.
Oh.
All right. And then the other question I wanted to just see if you guys have a thought about is and Kirk was going to do this, but then what do you have a favorite musician or favorite songs? What would be on your playlist?
Where you at, Chandler?
Oh man, people are gonna judge me. You know what? I love.
We know you from Mississippi, bro. Go ahead. You can hit us with the country music.
I love listening to Dave Matthews, like that vibe.
What's wrong with Dave Matthews? It's incredible, man. Yeah. Great group. He's playing with Merriweather Post this summer too, by the way.
What's that?
Nickelback.
He's playing Merriweather Post up in Columbia, Maryland. That's a hot ticket, man.
Right, like they play here every year at Jiffy Lube. So, I got to see them in Walnut Creek, 3rd row, first time ever back in 1998. And I was like, wow. Like, I wasn't really into them until I saw them live, and I was like blown away by, Dave Matthews got his own kind of like style, but just watching the drummer, the bass player, before they kicked.
That's a great show.
I mean, the saxophone guy before he died, but they were just when they got together, they gelled, and just the vibe, you know what I mean? And then it's funny, I'll play it in my class and weight training, and the kids are like, what is this garbage? It ain't like rap or something, but they're like, this is some garbage. I'm sitting there like, yo, relax. Y'all just stay over there, leave me alone. Because it's just like.
Well, Charles, let me just say something. Today's kids, every generation says this, but today's kids don't know music. This mumble rap and all that stuff, bro. Oh my gosh! So it's actually probably an honor to have a kid today tell you your music doesn't sound cool, because they have no clue.
But Rusty, I would say this to give them credit, and so we don't sound too old. Like the rap and the R&B, it's not even R&B, whatever you call it, is garbage. But those kids can go out on their own and listen to 60s music. From Aretha Franklin, Diana Ross and the Supremes to the old classic.
Yeah, because they have
Tambourine
Apple
Man and
Music and they
Bob
can pull up anything anytime. We had to
No,
sit by the
they-
radio and
They
wait for it.
sample. They
That's
sample.
true. That's
They
true.
sample.
But they, I mean, you can't blame them for what they're given. So, and they were saying the same thing, by the way, in the 80s about rap and hip hop, how it was garbage. And I know some older guys that still think they can't listen to it. So there we go.
What about you, Austin? What do you like?
I'm going with. I'm a big.
What gets you pumped up if you were getting ready to go on your way to a game or some? What are you playing?
Or we're about to do like a workout or something.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to J. Cole. I'm listening to Drake. I'm listening to a little bit of Biggie, Tupac. I'm listening to we're getting into early 90s rap. We're getting into 2000s, 2010s.
Okay.
And I
That's
can't,
good stuff.
can't do the stuff today, but
Right.
kids,
And you're young.
The kids I
And
teach at
you're young.
Gainesville, they're like, all right, cool, we can get down with this because this was like in 2015. Right. Too long ago. So no, that's who I'm playing. Oh, I love my Darius Rucker too. That is
Okay, yeah.
That's
So,
how I get down.
For me, I love Kenny Rogers. All right, back in the day, a lot of the Motown stuff. But then we grew up like Kirk and I literally were like 79, 8. Like when rap started, we were right there with it. So old school rap, Run DMC, Cool J, but I still like Biggie and all that.
Cool Mo D.
Oh yeah, Cool Mo D. Oh my goodness, yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
Two Live Crew. Come on, man.
bro, like.
They're G-rated. They are G-rated compared to the
I
stuff
don't have
now.
to worry
Clean
about
lyrics.
My kids don't watch my show unless I make them to get a. But I can't complain about some of the stuff my kids listen to when I go back to Two Live Crew. And when I was in college, all I pumped up was NWA. All right, Ice Cube and all that. So yes. But now I'm all Kirk Franklin.
My middle son, who's 15, will turn on some NWA. He's like, Dad, check this out. I was like, all right.
I played NWA in the car with my kids, especially on a Cube and then also some Snoop. But I always played the clean version. But the second they get out of the car, I go, bam.
Bass all the way up.
Oh yeah, man. If I had my car now, 30 years ago, bruh. Let me just say this: Eric B. and Rakim. I had a friend. His whole back seat was nothing but a bass speaker.
That's like the Caribbean. When you go down there, they ride around.
Yes,
Bruh, Eric B. and Rakim just on a loop. That's all we did. But look, man, this has been a blessing. Anything you want to say or promote before we leave?
Over at C4, this summer our business is unique and obviously there's a lot of trainers in this area. And one thing that's kind of helped us always have that same turnover is having consistent programming. But this summer, we're kicking stuff off starting June 19th, right when school ends. So if people are in town, go ahead and come on out. If you wanted to try one of our speed and agility and quickness classes, if you want to come out and try one of our athletic performance high school or our ramp up, which is kind of that level 2, right before you get to that level 1, and then our youth class as well. We're open Monday through Sunday. Come check us out if you guys would like.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
You can always reach out and, we're all about, helping as many people as we can. We've done a lot. We've done a couple events. We didn't really talk about it tonight, but, connecting with the community and trying to help people in need and so forth. But, that's, once again, we're not looking for a pat on our back. Our thing is we just want to continue to build our brand the right way and make sure that we're doing things the right way and continuing to help promote Prince William County, Fairfax, Fauquier, as many kids as we can, because we've had them coming from everywhere. This weekend, I had a guy drive 2 hours from Towson, outside of Towson, just to get a workout in. And,
wow.
We had a kid come from Goochland last year, worked with him a couple times, and he's going to William and Mary. So it's pretty cool, unique thing we got going on. And like I said, it's all about helping these athletes, get the best out of them and educate them and teach them on the process, on some things they need to do to get to the next level.
All right. Well, good. That is great. So look, hey, for Austin Brown, Charlie Chandler, and both these guys from C4, and my co-host Kirk Byrd, this has been the Kirk and Byrd Show. We are out.